Jai Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Kupijana Valabha Girivarari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Vratajana Ranjana Jaya Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Vratajana Ranjana Jaya Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Hare Jaya Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swam Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pushkatya Desatarana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 12, text 12. Tata sarva gunodarke sanukula grahodaye yagyevam shadaraha pandur buyaha pandur ivaujasa. Tataha, thereupon, sarva, all, guna, good signs, udarke, having gradually evolved, sa anukula, all favorable, grahodaya, constellation of stellar influence, Yagya took birth. Vamshadaraha, hair apparent. Panduho, of Pandu. Buyaha, being. Pandu Iva, exactly like Pandu. Ojasa, by prowess. Translation. Thereupon, when all the good signs of zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Astronomical calculations of stellar influences upon a living being are not some suppositions, but are factual, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every living being is controlled by the laws of nature at every minute, just as a citizen is controlled by the influence of the state. The state laws are grossly observed, but the laws of material nature, being subtle to our gross understanding, cannot be experienced grossly. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, every action of life produces another reaction which is binding upon us, and only those who are acting on behalf of Yagya or Vishnu are not bound by reactions. Our actions are judged by the higher authorities, the agents of the Lord, and thus we are awarded bodies according to our activities. The law of nature is so subtle that every part of our body is influenced by the respective stars, and a living being obtains his working body to fulfill his terms of imprisonment by the manipulation of such astronomical influence. A man's destiny is therefore ascertained by the birth time constellation of stars, and a factual horoscope is made by a learned astrologer. It is a great science, and misuse of a science does not make it useless. Maharaj Parikshit, or even personality of Godhead, appear in certain constellations of good stars, and thus the influence is exerted upon the body, thus born at an auspicious moment. The most auspicious constellation of stars takes place during the appearance of the Lord in this material world, and it is specifically called Jayanti, a word not to be abused for any other purposes. Maharaj Parikshit was not only a great Kshatriya emperor, but also a great devotee of the Lord. Thus, he cannot take his birth at any inauspicious moment. As a proper place and time is selected to receive a respectable personage, so also to receive such a personality as Maharaj Parikshit, who was especially cared for by the Supreme Lord, a suitable moment is chosen when all good stars assemble together to exert their influence upon the king. Thus he took his birth just to be known as the great hero of Srimad Bhagavatam. This suitable arrangement of astral influences is never a creation of a man's will, but is the arrangement of the superior management of the agency of the Supreme Lord. Of course, the arrangement is made according to the good or bad deeds of the living being. Herein lies the importance of pious acts performed by the living being. Only by pious acts can one be allowed to get good wealth, good education, and beautiful features. The samskaras of the school of Sanatana Dharma, man's eternal engagement, are highly suitable for creating an atmosphere for taking advantage of good stellar influences, and therefore Garbhadana Samskara, or the first seedling purificatory process prescribed for the higher castes, is the beginning of all pious acts to receive a good, pious, and intelligent class of men in human society. There will be peace and prosperity in the world due to good and sane population only. And there is hell and disturbance only because of the unwanted, insane populace addicted to sex indulgence. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swam Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhushkati Satana. Thereupon were all good signs of the zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth. So, this is to some degree a controversial matter, the importance of astrology in the life of a devotee. One side, Srila Prabhupada comments here, it is very, very important to perform samskaras, purificatory processes, by receiving a child, good child. And on the other side, Prabhupada comments to a devotee who was obviously very interested in astrology. Prabhupada said, Krishna can kick and change your astrological prediction just like this. Prabhupada always pointed out, we are not depending on astrology, we are depending ultimately on Krishna. But it is very positive when we already appear by suitable, auspicious astrological situation, which I don't think can be said about most of us. As we are all sitting here, we are basically conceived by ignorant parents who know nothing about this. And even pious parents, but still the piety will be revealed what kind of relationship they will have to Krishna consciousness. But still, we cannot say that, I cannot say, it's just, when I asked my mother later on how I was appearing in this world, her only comment was It was very fast. That means unexpected. That means not planned. And that means Vana Shankara. But I was not unwanted ultimately. Yeah. So everybody has his story how he was born. We all had our childhood. And it's a big mistake. The demons, they like to think like this, that you can change a child by education. You cannot change anything. If somebody is born stupid, less intelligent, you can educate him as much as you want. He will remain less intelligent. Even theoretically, he can actually learn to repeat that knowledge you give him, academic knowledge. But he doesn't know how to apply it. He will just remain stupid. That's it. From a stupid mother and stupid father comes a stupid child. Very simple logic. So, the only thing where the change can occur is when such a less intelligent person, somehow or other, by, this is called agyata sukriti, by unknown impulse, yeah, gets in touch with pure devotee. Yeah? I just recently made a big mistake, mostly in front of younger devotees. I was describing the origin of the leaders of the Hare Krišna movement, which I witnessed, joining God brothers with me. And then I saw they were shocked, because they expected that now I will really say something which can be considered controversial, but it's a fact. They think my Guru appeared from the sky, from the spiritual world. The sky opened, my Guru descended, and here I am. Because actually he acts like a divine person. Yes, it can be said about some of my God brothers. They are divinely inspired, divinely acting. But they didn't appear divinely. So how come? Where was the auspicious astrological constellation at their appearance? Well, it started by the moment we met Srila Prabhupada. And our only fortune was that we actually took that mercy coming from him. And suddenly all the astrology and all the stupidity, all the craziness was first regulated and then purified. You know, as one devotee said to Prabhupada, yeah, these karmis, look, they're all crazy, they're karmis, you know, they're all crazy. Prabhupada looked at him seriously and he said, you are all crazy too, just a little bit differently. So just a little bit differently, the difference is there by surrendering to a pure devotee. That can change everything. By mercy of a pure devotee, blind man can see stars in the sky. Lame man can learn how to dance. Man who never spoke anything can recite poetry. We saw it happening. It is possible. And all the astrology is out of the window. Pure devotee can change everything. So this is the power of a real pure devotee. So we are all more or less his products. Even Srila Prabhupada, in his humility, he saw it differently. He saw us being sent to him by his Guru as his assistants. I mean, we didn't thought like this. I never thought Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj sent me to help Prabhupada. I mean, who is Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj? Who is me? Come on. But Prabhupada saw it in his humility. That explains why he was so tolerant with us. Because he was thinking, if this is what Krishna sent me, well, I have to do something with it. So he was ready to do something with those who were most unqualified. I just recently, I mean, you can read the testimonies of my God brothers. think it was Shyamasundara who wrote this. He said, Prabhupada, we have a problem here. A new bhakta joined. But he's talking all the time. To everybody. It's difficult to have such a person in a temple, you know. Prabhupada gave a very simple solution to that problem. He said, lock him, but he doesn't want to go home. We cannot get rid of him. Prabhupada said, lock him in a room and tell him, if he doesn't stop talking and chants Hare Krishna instead, he will not get any prasadam. So, you know, to the man was, and they was good, stop it, chant Hare Krishna. Otherwise, no prasadam. I mean, he didn't want to go home. So he was, okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, because he wanted that prasadam. You know, that was very powerful preaching tool. And then very shortly, my good brother comments, it became much better. He was chanting, taking prasadam, and finally participating in a temple. And later on became one of the leading acharyas in ISKCON. Wow. I will not mention any names, but yeah. So that's what Prabhupada took, and that's what he did out of it. Now, I'm sorry if somebody feels like diminished in his faith or whatever, but this is reality. This is what happened. We have no pious background. We have no auspicious astrological calculation. No. We just were at the right time, at the right place, by Krishna's mercy, and we just grabbed the mercy which came down. Totally dependent on every word Srila Prabhupada said. And then we got a new life. It's actually being reborn. The old life, we remember that, we never forget. That's the reason why when we play theatre, devotees or something like this, to get devotees who play demons very easy. To play devotees who play Lord Chaitanya, you know, not so difficult, not so easy. But how to play a demon? I played theatre myself several times in Krishna consciousness. I was very good as Ravana, as Hiranyakashipu, you know, very convincing. I know how to be demoniac. Come on, this is where I come from. So, you know, it's, you know, this is the background. But Prabhupada, in his gentle and humble spirit, saw us as being sent by Krishna. Nobody of us is self-manifested. Sorry. You know, we are all mercy cases, all surviving on the mercy of the Supreme, manifested through the mercy of Guru and Krishna. That's our position. If we know that and we value that, more mercy is coming. More mercy is coming. The moment, it doesn't matter in what kind of position we are, at the moment we forget that, the danger appears immediately. Yes, this is for me natural, right? Krishna consciousness is like, yes. And there are some very academically qualified devotees. I'm not one of them, but they are very Brahminical, they are, you know. So they easily assume the academic part of Krishna consciousness. They are very good on rituals, they are very good on mantras, they are very good on collecting shlokas. And it sounds like, wow, well. And then some of them may come to the point, they start to feel like they know even more as Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Immediately danger arises. Because Krishna can give intelligence, he can take it too, you know. It's very dangerous. As soon as you get puffed up, you know, the intelligence quota goes down. And then you will be amazed. Sometimes devotees wonder, but this was such an intelligent, wonderful, empowered devotee, and now we just, You know, what happened? It's quite simple. We either connect ourselves to the flow of mercy, or we can also disconnect ourselves. It's quite simple. It's like, the plugs here. It's a very gross example. There is a switch, and the light goes on. And there is a switch, the light goes off. Connected, disconnected. And then we have in Krishna consciousness some intermediate state where you are somewhat connected. But the cable is not clean yet completely. So the light is sometimes a little bit on, a little bit less, you can illuminate with that, but it's very varying. That's called Kama Mishra Bhakti. And this is a state where still some material desire may become prominent, or some spiritual desire becomes prominent, and that makes us switching on, switching. That's a process of purification. When we keep on chanting, following, the light becomes more and more bright. Up to the point where we see Srila Prabhupada as he is, his instructions as they are, and Krishna consciousness as it is. There is no flickering Krishna consciousness. In the ultimate sense, it's bright, it's wonderful, it's full of light, illumination and happiness. It reflects the nature of the soul. It's eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Well, we speak about this, but to come to that state, it's a gradual process, because there is this filter. We filter everything through this body, which again is connected to the material energy. In a case of auspicious appearance like Maharaj Parikshit, even the body appears under most auspicious circumstances. As Prabhupada said, it's endowed, equipped with beauty and knowledge and spiritual radiance. Yes, such appearances are there. When Srila Prabhupada appeared, it was predicted by the astrologer that one day he will open at least 108 temples all over the world. I mean, it was bizarre. He was a small child running around in Calcutta. If you would meet Srila Prabhupada as a small boy, you wouldn't guess that this is the future Acharya. Srila Prabhupada said, I was a very naughty boy. He was not even an easy child. They had to hire a man to bring him to school by violence. Prabhupada was very intelligent. He could argue with his father. His father was very attached to him. So he knew that. So he was using it. His father gave him a water pistol. Prabhupada immediately suggested, why only one? I have two hands. I need two water pistols. Not easy child, not at all. But Prabhupada said naughtiness of a child is a sign of intelligence. Because stupid children, they are not naughty. They are nice because they have no idea what to do. But intelligent children, they're always inventing something, and boys. I have a rich experience with girls. Because I grew up in a community, as a grihasta, I was functioning in a community that was mostly girls. And the grihastas, the fathers were working in a restaurant, I had that kind of period of my life where I had time. So they dumped all the small children on me. The mothers were happy. Can you take them on a walk, please? Bye-bye, So I found myself in a situation where I had 5 girls sitting on me. My daughter was leading the gang. It was community, So children, they have no barriers. They think, today I will sleep in this house, and then I will sleep in that house, and I will eat here, and I will eat there. And, that's India. In India, it is like that. Every child is welcome who comes in the door. Yeah, please sit down and eat, Sometimes there is 3 of them, sometimes there is 5 of them. We had a community like that. So I'm trained on this. But it's a difference, boys and girls, of course. Boys are always screwing something and they are constructive. I just met, after a long, long time, a completely revolutionary Swedish Sankirtan party with 3 young brahmacharis. Wow. That's in Sweden really a feast to meet. Nobody told them to go on Sankirtan. Nobody pushed them to go on Sankirtan. They did it on their own. They managed to get a car and they were going Sankirtan Ki Jai. Why? Well, they are children of devotees. It was funny, Sankirtan meetings, because I was telling them how I was taking already their fathers on Sankirtan. And they were like, oh, okay. Yeah. You don't have in a Western world this, my father. Oh. No. The children are always, my father. He's okay. But, more distant, I would call it. But these 3 boys, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. They go as a devotees, either they make Harinam, they make book distribution, they are the whole year on the street. So, so it's great to see such a thing. So there you can already some auspicious birth, you can see it. Prabhupada once even commented regarding the children of devotees, it will become visible in a 2nd and 3rd generation. Because the more and more purified the consciousness is, the more chance is there for auspicious appearance of auspicious souls. That explains why sometimes in the ISKCON educational system there was so many problems. You know why? Because the first generation of the Vaishnava children was produced under LSD during a Woodstock festival by their hippie parents. Who joined Hare Krišna movement with their children. That already happened in Prabhupada's presence. Yeah, but the children were produced by LSD, So what do you get? Now Srila Prabhupada again, he was so amazing. He calls these children Vaikuntha children. But those who were informed about the origin of the children, especially the first generation, they knew, okay, let's hope so. And naturally, as these children grow up, strange things appeared. Now I will say again something controversial. Who said that some of these children are not demons? Who said so? Because they act like that. Some of them. Not all, not at all. And the parents are shocked sometimes. What a little demon we got here. Oh. Yeah, naturally, because there was no samskara, there was no auspiciousness in the production process. Then don't be surprised. It's like a seed. You plant a seed. What kind of seed? Prabhupada gave a very scientific and detailed description how a child appears. It doesn't appear even by the process of insemination. That's just chemistry, okay? Yeah? The insemination is just chemistry. But the seed of the father is then entered by superior will, by a living entity. And there are many seeds, why only one finds its target and finally the mother becomes pregnant? It's a very scientific thing. So the person enters the seed. Why? Because there are so many seeds and nothing happens. Nobody entered. There are even children, the karma is so short, The mother gets impregnated, the child dies already in the womb. Doesn't come even out. Prabhupada said even those mothers who kill children, he was shocked. I mean, he said, how is that possible? He said, that's your culture. Abortion. They, by karma, will be born in a womb of other mothers and never see the daylight. Dying again in some womb. That's it. So that's how strict the laws of material nature are. Very precise. Therefore, producing children, it's serious. Prabhupada gave exactly a way how to do that. It's serious. And Krishna says, that's me. I am that kind of sex. Anything else, Kamis are incredible. They have words for everything, you know. They call it recreational sex and productive sex. You can choose. You want a child? That's productive sex. And then it's recreational sex. Yes. Well, anybody diving into that activity will very soon be out of the recreation for sure. So then Krishna goes, well, you are trying so hard. It doesn't work in a human form really so much, you know. So why not just become a gorilla or pigeon? You know, they can have sex all the time. Monkey, you know. I saw a monkey in Vrindavan. He had 20 girlfriends. He had sex life in front of me and he was eating banana to it. He looked at me like, what are you looking at? Huh? And I realized that, no, even I would like to. I cannot come up to that standard. Not possible. So human form life is not made for that. We have something monkey doesn't have. We should have something monkey doesn't have, and that's bigger brain. We can think more, ask questions. Monkeys don't do that. They are just only banana and sex. They are very tricky fellows. They are intelligent too, very intelligent. But just to that degree of eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So we can do more. In a human form, obviously, we are in a place, we have a body which can facilitate more. Why not use it? So that involves human society is, even in a material sense, full of rules and regulations which create auspiciousness. Outside of that, rules and regulations are useless. What's the use of this? Ringing bells and, and following the rules. Prabhupada wants us to follow consciously. Everything should have a meaning. Our prayers should have a meaning. Our activities should have a meaning. Why we are doing this? One guest, obviously a quite Mayavadi type, asked me on a Sunday feast, why does your guru always have these flowers here, the garland? What is the deeper meaning of that? He expected some esoteric chakra explanation or whatever. And I told him, you have a girlfriend? Yeah, I have a girlfriend. You like her? Yeah. So don't you give her sometimes some flowers? Yeah. Why do you give her flowers? Because I like her. So we give him the flowers because we like him. That's it. It's just they are so strung on her, like a garland. Because we love him. Oh, okay. This is the basis of our activities. Why we offer things to Krishna. Why we worship like this. It's an expression of love. And what do you do when you love somebody? You try to please him in a way he likes. Not the way you like, but the way, he likes. So I didn't invent this puja. That was not my idea. It's Krishna's idea. He likes it like that. So therefore we do that. Simple logic. We do things because Krishna likes them this way. And that's how you become a devotee. Why are we dressing like this? Well, it's not always very practical, but Krishna likes it. Otherwise, why we are dressing like this? Why we are acting in a certain way? That's the way Krishna likes to have it. Not because it was our idea. We had all kinds of ideas, even about spiritual life. Yes, devotees used. I know devotees who were yoga teachers before they joined. They had their idea what spirituality is. You know, I know devotees who were, they have their ideas what austerity means. You know, yeah. Yeah. And I remember we had one bhakta in Sweden, he really hated prasadam. Very rare. He thought, this is so opulent, this is so sweet and so juicy, and this. He was a macrobiotic yogi. He was living only from seeds, you know, and austerity, that's yoga. Well, I remember the reaction he got. Whew, I will not even tell you, it was heavy. He offended prasadam. Ugh. You know, oh boy. He had to suffer quite a lot for that. Because Krishna likes it like this. That's all. You know. Anyway, I don't want to go more in detail. Prabhupada was also very liberal. He said, yes, if it's vegetarian and all this, you can offer it to Krishna if it keeps you going. Because he had already macrobiotic hippies, you know, disciples. And there was, vegetarianism was not such a big problem for devotees. No drugs and no illicit sex life, that was the real problem. Yes. Because they grew up on this. But vegetarianism was not a big thing. It's common sense not to kill animals, and it's common sense not, you know, not to eat meat. And most devotees already intuitively try to avoid it before they joined even. I became vegetarian by the age of 16. Just by visiting a slaughterhouse as a part of my artistic education. After that visit, half of the school class was vegetarian. They were just shocked. You know, it was just so shocking. You know, so that this one vegan lady, she told me on a street, all the slaughterhouses should be made from glass. So people can look inside and see what's going on. You don't see it, isn't it? It's all covered up. There's some building, there's some animals going in, they don't come out. And then there's some food. You know, food they call it. You know, it's ghastly. You are eating somebody. I mean, you go in a supermarket, the meat department, it's ghastly, it stinks. It's part of somebody's bodies, you know. I just, you know what, you wouldn't like it if somebody wants to eat a part of your leg, you know. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's rotten, you know. You need refrigeration to keep this. Now you have to refrigerate vegetable too, but to much less degree. You know, that's one of the reasons why in India meat eating was never very popular, because you cannot refrigerate the whole thing. It rots away. In the heat, you know, impossible. So, you know, what to speak of what to speak of our digestion, what to speak of our bodies, how they are constructed. We don't have a teeth to, you know, rip out a piece of meat. Tiger, no problem, you know. Tiger, big animals have no problem to rip even a pieces of meat apart. We cannot do that. So this is all evidently wrong, what society was educated into. So there's no education even how to seek a favorable constellation of stars, how to seek auspiciousness in one's life. Therefore, Krishna consciousness automatically brings it as well. It is actually not the main thing, but because while striving for love of Godhead, intimate relationship to, close relationship to Krishna, you automatically become blessed by auspiciousness. More and more, the more and more we advance, our life becomes simply auspicious. There is even auspicious not birth, there is also auspicious death. I saw some devotees dying in a very auspicious way. Struggling devotees who had a hard time while they were living in these bodies. And I could see in the last minute Krishna squeezed himself into their mind because they were so blessed. And they were just, Hare Krishna, bye-bye. Finished. They died with a smile on their face. Usually people don't do that, you know. It's a terrifying, horrible thing to die. But, they were so blessed. So, so this is also possible. This is all coming by blessings of a pure devotee. So we are greedy after the blessings. Where do I get the blessings? Where do I get auspicious activity? And sometimes devotees are risking even their lives to get auspiciousness. They go to countries which is very dangerous to preach. They take risks, just to get to the point of blessing. So this is how our lives are conducted. Regarding auspicious star constellations, which can be changed suddenly, completely unpredictable. When Krishna appeared, it is described in Krishna book, all the stars lined up in a most auspicious way. This was not perceivable how it happened. It just happened by His supreme will. Similarly, devotees sometimes ask me, how can we do Prabhupada's movement better? Simple question. Sincere devotees are concerned with that. And they always seek ways how to serve Prabhupada better, how to improve the quality of his movement. Don't make it to lunatic asylum, Prabhupada said. Don't ruin it. Don't change it into something else, or whatever. Prabhupada was very concerned with this. So, how can we do that? Well, Prabhupada said it always depends on leadership. Yes? There is no progress without the leadership. And this is exactly the demoniac doctrine which undermines any leadership while they are presenting themselves as the leaders, isn't it? There is always a leader. There is even an anti-leader leader. You cannot avoid it. There's a man who writes, you shouldn't read even books, it's just paper. But he writes books about it. You shouldn't follow anybody, but they follow him. Well, you cannot avoid it. You will always have a leader. So to get the blessing of a right leader, we need auspicious appearance of such personalities. They can simply come. And it becomes evident by their actions, and by the results of their actions, how blessed and auspicious personalities these are. And then, under their guidance and being attached to them, we also become auspicious. We also become. It's like, again, the gross example of electric current. When you touch somebody who is connected to electricity, well, you will get some shock too, You will feel it. He is connected. So Krishna consciousness works like that. We can only be connected by being attached to somebody who is connected. It's called Guru Parampara. And then the result will be evident. Auspiciousness, bliss, knowledge, righteousness. It's all predicted by the end of Bhagavad Gita. There was Krishna and Arjuna. There is opulence, there is righteousness, there is vigor, power, there is strength. This is all coming in view, and it is possible when an empowered person appears. They are not coming so often, and there are not too many. But when they come, you can see the result, as we saw on the appearance of Srila Prabhupada. It's completely beyond any discussion what Prabhupada did. Even within the parampara, it's hard to find somebody who did what Prabhupada did. It's just amazing. You don't have any Guru Parampara members going even out of India much. Nope. But Prabhupada's the one who went all over the world. Now it's no place practically on this planet when you cannot go and somebody is not chanting Hare Krishna. Somewhere. This is only due to Prabhupada. Or as one of his godbrothers rightly commented, sitting in India, he said, Prabhupada was digging a tunnel from India to the West, a tunnel we can now all walk. Even him. And there are wonderful devotees outside the official ISKCON too, sorry. I don't know the names even, but I know there are wonderful devotees. But nobody did what Prabhupada did. That's a fact. We don't want to diminish anybody or offend anybody, but it's a fact. Nobody went all over the planet. When was, Ljubljana before Prabhupada came? What happened here? They were all chanting the glories of Mr. Tito or whatever. What is this place? Wherever you go, we are not supposed to be even here. You should be the Slovenian people, working in your father's little business, have a little house, studying something and working in the little Slovenia. I should sit somewhere in some very remote location. I never liked people to start with, but I should be an unrecognized genius Czech artist, yes. Out of despair, I will do two things, either drink or just bury my head in a lap of some woman. Help, I am so alone. Women, they can do that, they are very good at this. You are so unique. You think, oh, finally somebody understood me. By the time you are really understood, she's pregnant. This is generally how Maya tricks people, This is biology, this is material nature at action. We are not accusing anybody, this is usually how it works. I grew up with such a people. I grew up with artists which had to make lots of art to pay for the illicit children, and who took out of despair start to reach out for the bottle because it was so much trouble in the art. So I was warned. I said, no, I don't want to go that way. And then came devotees and said, you know what? It's all Maya. This attempt to go in this direction is completely illusory. Just chant Hare Krishna and see what happens. That's the real art. And why not worship the supreme artist who created all art? You cannot be an artist without Krishna's mercy, you know that? Impossible. Krishna says, from me comes intelligence, from me comes ability of doing something, from me comes the idea to do something. It's all me. So even you want to do something crazy, Krishna will also help you. He is so liberal. How crazy you want to be? Well, I want to be an exceptionally crazy artist. Yeah, Krishna goes, why not? Somebody just sent me a picture of Italian artist. He is so genius and so great. He created a monument which is invisible. That rascal sold it for $20,000. Plain palette, and he was just giving the last touches on an invisible monument. And some rich idiot bought it, empty palette, with invisible monument. What's good, $20,000, This is what art is essentially about. You create something crazy and then you have to find an idiot who buys it. I saw it already happening in my generation, and today it's driven to perfection. So, thank you very much. As a devotee, I just admire the size of the illusion, how Krishna facilitates such an idiotism on such a level, He's so merciful. You want to buy an invisible monument? Yeah, do it. So people get cheated on every step of their lives by, well, this is their own fault. But we came to Krishna consciousness not to get cheated. And we have the incredible benefit to be in touch with pure devotee who will improve or annihilate, negate even our inauspicious birth, even our inauspicious destiny. We are not sitting here because of the result of our karma. No. I don't think I would ever meet you ever. What I'm doing in Ljubljana anyway. We are meeting here as devotees. That's really special. Outside of that, we will probably never meet. Why? Because you will be some Slovenian, I will be something else, and I will come here as a tourist, to look at the Slovenians, or, we have nothing to do with each other outside of Krishna consciousness, really. What connects us is we are devotees. So much devotees that I don't even know all the names of people. I don't know what your name is in your passport. I couldn't care less. Police is sometimes a big problem. When in Germany the police raided the temple, the biggest problem they had was who is who. Because they knew already, they were hearing the phones, before. It was German, it was completely perfectly prepared. There was only one problem. They couldn't identify us. Because Manidhar Das was not in a passport. So who is Manidhar Das? And they knew we all have different names. So out of despair, they put us in a big hall, in a police, big police presidium. They drove us with the bus there and put us in a big hall all together. And they collected all the passports. And then they had all the list of spiritual names. They had it. But they didn't know which one, who is what. So they had the pile of passports and they went alphabetically, So the first name came up, I remember exactly, was Astaradaras. And Astaradaras got up. And what shocked them, we turned the whole thing into a Sankirtan meeting. Sitting, end of Krishna consciousness in Germany, right? All imprisoned, leaders already in jail. We were sitting in a big hall. And the first name, who is Astarata? Immediately, 100, by that time there were like 80 devotees sitting there. Astarata Prabhu Ki Jai! And they were like, oh, where did this came from? They were completely shocked. Immediately reaching for the guns, quiet. We were like, and then Bharata Prabhu Ki Jai! It was like we didn't stop, with this. And then they matched the spiritual name with the passport. That's him, okay? It took quite a long time, to do this. It was like one big meeting, yeah? Chit-Shakti Prabhu Ki Jai! It was like this all the time. At the end, the police was so confused. They wrote in the report, the sect has a secret code word. It's called Haribol, They had no idea what we are doing. I remember they brought, on the hallway, we met a temple president, Chakravarti Prabhu. He had handcuffs, and he had even chains on feet. So he was walking slowly. Immediately everybody made dandavats. Wham! On the floor. And they were like, Oh, no, everybody is on the floor. Get up, get up! You know, they were like, this was a hilarious day. We were almost 24 hours there, identified and interrogated, but it was so confusing for them. You know, I remember a simple devotee who normally had lots of mental problems, but somehow everybody felt so invigorated at that moment. Everybody was like, we don't care if you kill us, we are here. You know, it was incredible. I remember they took our fingerprints, fingerprints and photos, with the number here, registration. I remember that simple devotee coming out of the room with his fingers still black from the ink, they take the fingerprints, and he was laughing. He said, they think this is me. Ha ha! Perfectly aware he's not his body. My God, these people were confused. These policemen, they were so confused. At the end, they just threw us into some cars and drove us back to the temple and kicked us out of the cars, and that was the end of the day. Now, well, it wasn't so funny after that. There was a ferocious anti-sect propaganda in the media. Well, I learned the German nation from its worst side. I understood at that point why Germans were so perfect in killing people, so perfect in establishing concentration camps, eliminating thousands and thousands of people in a most organized, disciplined fashion, because they did this to us. So it is, the memory is still there. Even today, Germany is highly confused. You see how things are changing. Today, in Germany, devotees are considered almost like angels. Ratha Yatra, dancing, prasadam. I was in Köln, on Ratha Yatra procession, and it's heavily guarded by police. But there was a policewoman standing there just watching the Ratha Yatra passing by. So I offered them prasadam and said, yeah. And they were like, thank you very much, some cookies and whatever. And I said, it's fun here, isn't it? And then the policeman looked at me. And somehow, he was a young guy, he was quite nice. So he said, yeah, it's quite fun, We were yesterday fighting in a police station. Who will have that service today? To be on guard on Ratha Yatra. Because we knew it's going to be organized, lots of singing, and good food. That's for them, the Ratha Yatra. So they were fighting, who will have this service there? I want to be, While I was thinking, yeah, something changed here in Germany. Something definitely changed. Why? You know what he told me? He said, tomorrow there is a demonstration registered in same town of Serbo-Croatian liberation movement. He said, that's going to be heavy. Police on horses, with gummy sticks and Serbo-Croatian liberation movements marching, meeting other Serbo-Croatian liberation movement for sure, something, and then just... And then they all unite and beat the police. That's usually the only unification point they have. So devotees, we are for them like angels, So things changed, yes, things did change. What harms the society we are really doing? Distributing so much prasadam. And, above all, giving them books. What kind of danger you constitute a society by book distribution? In itself, I am not even speaking what's in the books. How dangerous this can be. So, I mean, it's understood nowadays by the governments usually that that's not our problem number one. Because Krishna gave them so many problems, number one, that they have no time to deal with us even much. They have really problems. Why? Millions and millions of illicit and unwanted children being imported. That's great. All glories to the demons, isn't it? How more brainless you can be. Import completely unpredictably people who are born in a totally different locations. People who grew up with Kalashnikov under a cushion. I'm speaking about reality. And they reproduce themselves like rats. Quickly. So what do you expect will happen? This is already happening right now, right here, everywhere I go, same thing. And we are not racists. We had our United Nations and our European Union way before European Union existed. It's called ISKCON. I grew up with people of so many races, so many differences. I myself was an immigrant my whole life. Coming to Germany, I joined me, the Czech Bhakta. They had no idea who this is those days. Even devotees were confused. Where is this guy coming? I was the first Slavian Bhakta in Germany. There was no Polish, there was nothing, because it was Iron Curtain, it was closed. Somehow or other Krishna arranged, my parents immigrated and I could join Hare Krishna movement in Germany. But the Germans, they had no idea who this is. They didn't even know how to deal with me. It's quite a difference of mentality, you know. Until today. So in Krishna consciousness, this is the real United Nations. This is the real, and there are still problems. Yes, there are still problems. Chemical problems. You know, devotees are different. But somewhere we should meet. And somewhere we should try to cooperate our efforts to please Krishna. That will be the success in our Krishna consciousness. So there is importance in it, how children are born. There is hope in it that on a certain point an empowered personality will be sent to unite us all and to coordinate our efforts to spread Krishna consciousness. Those who want, Prabhupada is still here, his instructions are here. He left enough so we can study and follow. He gave his life for that, to leave behind a solid ground in form of his books, his lectures and everything we can walk on. So we should value that and try not to mess it up. There's some questions or some points to that. You can scream at me.
My name is ISKCON.
Huh?
Mike.
Hare Krishna. My name is ISKCON. I have one question about this story, this idiot in Italy.
Huh?
This story about this artist who sells this invisible art. Do you hear me?
Is ISKCON?
No, you talk about this story, about this idiot who buy this invisible art. Where will this happen? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was in Italy 70s.
Huh?
It was in Italy in 70s, or where was this story happened?
Yeah.
When?
Where?
Where and when, yes, this story happened.
Where this idiot existed? Very recently in Italy.
So it's new one, it's not old
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It's quite a new story. It's still going on.
I know that people are weird, but so much weirder than
I mean, you can nowadays, with the help of internet, you can cheat like anything. It's just, you can just create by help of artificial intelligence, which is nothing else as stolen data being accumulated. You can derive from that and you can create something. That's mine, my creation. No. It's just collected garbage from others. That's all. It's cheating everywhere. It's dangerous because now they developed a technology. You can hear a lecture from Manidhar, but he was never there. That's it.
Thank you.
You can even see a video of Manidhara, he was never there. That's really dangerous. But you can always detect there was somebody manipulating here. Because one thing demons don't understand and don't want to understand, Krishna says, I give the intelligence. I give the knowledge. So even a very simple person can get from Krishna the knowledge. This is cheating. They will never get it. They will never be able to cheat everybody everywhere. Impossible.
Actually, for me, it's scary when I hear that.
Huh?
How easy many people can be.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So, this is our hope. Krishna is there. He can give intelligence. And I see it happening. It's so beautiful to travel around. Krishna gives what you want to get. You want to get cheated? Great. He will give you a cheater. Because that's what you want. And if you want the real thing, he will send the real thing. Already on Sankirtan we used to pray to Krishna, Krishna, please, do you have to be so liberal? Couldn't you smash it a little bit all? Nah, Krishna will not do that. This is the world where people can be in illusion. This is the place we are living in. You want illusion? Krishna will give it. You want the real thing? Yes, Krishna will give it too. So it's our choice. It's not accidental. No. Birds of the same feather flock together. It's a very powerful rule. So you always find similar type of people flocking together on similar type of principles. It's interesting to watch this. And you can explain, no, it's not like this. Look, use your brain. This is, no, they don't want this. Okay, what can you do? You want to have it cheap? You get something cheap. You want something real? Well, that costs a little bit more. In terms of austerity, endeavor. Truth, one has to fight for. Lie comes on its own. Completely naturally. You see it on every detail how the society works. But the karma, it's uncompromising. There, it's as you do, so you reap. So you will get the result in uncompromising fashion. Right now, on the celebration of New Year, so many people died by celebrating. Usually when karmas accumulate, celebrate, ooh, and that's the time devotees go, okay, bye-bye. Because things become crazy and dangerous. Whenever karmas accumulate, devotees are like, so Krishna says, what is day for them, it's night for us. And what's night for us? is a day for them. It's incompatible. I mean, I could just give practical examples just from the celebration of the New Year. First of all, is it really New Year? I don't know. In China, they don't think so. Russia, they have another New Year. So where's the New Year? Christmas. Did Jesus appear? Really? Come on, they don't even know where he appeared. They don't know when he appeared. They don't know how he looked like. They don't know how to worship him actually. And they call us a sect. Come on. Blindly following something. Come on, who blindly? I will not follow blindly one damn thing. Don't preach like this, they feel offended, of course, but we don't have a Guru Puja of our Guru being nailed on a piece of wood. We don't drink his blood and eat his body in a symbolic way. What kind of Guru Puja is this? Srila Prabhupada cried by seeing just the crucifix hanging on a wall. That's documented. They put Prabhupada once in South America. There was lots of preaching done by the Christians, so there's Catholic Church and all this. And they put him in some congregational home, in a room, and there was this crucifix hanging on a wall. And then I went to cook, and I came back, Prabhupada was still sitting on a bed, crying. They're going, Prabhupada, what happened? He said, take this down immediately. Look what they have done to him. So Prabhupada had a real feelings for Jesus Christ. He said, what a preacher. 3 years he was preaching, and look at the result. But they don't even know where he died. Not on the cross. Otherwise, why come? How is it possible? There is a graveyard. There's a grave of Jesus in India. But if they challenge us, our answer is how we don't follow Jesus. Show me. Thou shalt not kill. Great. So, how many animals you did kill yesterday by eating them? We don't do that. So we are better Christians. But generally we don't want to upset or agitate these people. Whatever still they have, Christianity is just a collection of moral principles. Prabhupada even said, he said, listen what they are praying. A good Christian goes to heaven, right? Heaven. There's no spiritual world. Heavenly planets. They don't go back home, back to Godhead. And Jesus doesn't give any detailed description of the kingdom of God because they were not able to understand. Jesus was preaching to fishermen. Our Bhagavad Gita is spoken to a Aryan man, Arjuna. But we don't want to appear as arrogant or, no, it's good. Try at least to be a good Christian. Try at least. Muslim, it's a little problem. Because Muhammad said this religion, it's in Quran, has to be spread by fire and sword. That's what they do. Atrocities committed by the Muslims in India alone, unbelievable. Makes Mr. Hitler looking like some kind of puppet theater, So unbelievable how they killed. So anyway, This is the material world we are living in. Prabhupada said every gentleman should plan for it, to make this lifetime to be the last one. You know, we are all departing. Bye-bye. Not again. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you, Prabhupada, for giving that, opening the door. But let's really go back home, back to Godhead, because this is... And those who are purely by heart dedicated to preaching, that Prabhupada illustrated very nicely by commenting on a letter written to him by Sankirtan devotees in the middle of the marathon. They wrote to him, Prabhupada, our desire to go back home, back to Godhead is increasing simply by distributing your books. You know what he wrote back? You don't have to go back home, back to Godhead. You are already there. That's a question of realization, of course. But Prabhupada valued book distribution like the... That's what you finally do in a spiritual world anyway. Then he wrote something else which I rarely quote. He wrote that book distribution is such an intimate service. It's on the level of a service of gopis to Krishna. I don't quote it too much, otherwise some Sankirtan devotees will end up walking in saris. But it is a very intimate service, without discriminating any other service, because ultimately in Prabhupada's movement, it's all geared towards preaching. Every service is geared towards preaching. Otherwise, why we are sitting here in this old school middle of Ljubljana? Why? There are nicer places to live in Slovenia alone. It could be somewhere in the mountains, in some nice place. You know? No, this is all about preaching. The puja, everything is about preaching. So people can come, walk in the door and going, oh, Krishna, yeah. This is the life of a devotee, and this is the best possible way to have a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna is not ungrateful. He is so grateful. I don't want to go more in detail, it will get a little bit emotional, but boy, I could tell you how grateful Krishna is, even in times you would absolutely not expect that. He can change your karma. He can change everything. I had moments in my life I was going, Krishna, you're still helping with this? This is my mess. This is on a basis of my conditioning happened. Please, play your flute. Dance with the gopis. But why are you messing around with this Manidhar? No, he does. He is amazing. Prabhupada got overpowered by emotions in a lecture when he realized what Krishna gave him in America alone. You can listen to the Vyasa Puja offerings, to these lectures. They sometimes break down very abruptly because Prabhupada is so overpowered. To see the impact of Krishna's mercy. It's amazing. We shouldn't be here, this shouldn't be here. You know. Even karmis can see that. I just come from a community in Czech Republic, a remote location, okay? It's a farm, old, big, broken, communistic farm. That's usually the places devotees get, you know, quite hopeless, materially spoken. But even the major of the local, you know, small city, you know, he is impressed. what you have done in 8 years out of this junkyard, you know, and nobody is preaching really so aggressively. They have a beautiful book distribution also going on, but they are not like, you know, but they are working hard, putting up small band of devotees. And people are impressed. They think, wow, look what they did out of that junkyard. And then, of course, people come for prasadam. There's famous place for incredible prasadam. They have the cows, they have their own vegetable, everything. So people come for that. But this is how you preach, sometimes by doing things. By existing and by doing. We should never forget that. If this place wouldn't be here, Ljubljana is doomed. Doesn't matter how many tourists are coming. So, this is a place by its very same existence is blessing the whole town, the whole surrounding, you know. People can always come and take some advantage in spiritual way. Wonderful. It's worth of it to fight for it and to maintain it. Even sometimes we don't see some big tangible result. And no. Just by maintaining, just by struggling to keep it alive, that's already a great contribution. What to speak of the, you know, like come to it in a Sankirtan meeting of the books going out and all this. I can tell you from my subjective experience, I never saw such a small country with such a little amount of people operating with that many devotees, first of all, comparatively spoken to the size. I am now a little bit speculating, but I think so, yeah. Do you know that Slovenia has a more preaching output as the whole Germany together? And how big Germany is? It's huge. I think there's 80, 90 million people in Germany. How many million people are in Slovenia? It's amazing. This place is really amazing. I'm not speaking about resident in a temple and this, but if you take the amount of devotees, having still some preaching enthusiasm and being part of Krishna consciousness, comparatively spoken to this small Slovenia, it's big. But to speak of the ability to sustain places, because we saw many places falling apart too, being closed down or whatever. So it's amazing, just completely amazing. So Slovenia is special for me. It's just always like, how can on such a small space, having still so much spiritual activity going on? I come just from Poland, okay? It's also quite amazing. There are quite many devotees in Poland, but it's quite a big country. So you have to travel 200, 300 kilometers before you find a devotee. You don't have to do this in Slovenia, I think. There's a whole part of Slovenia. Just last time here on the trip, I discovered a new Slovenia again. I was with Shempas, it's called this place, and then in Nova Gorica and all this, and then going, wow. You know how many devotees are powering this? Maybe 3, 4, I don't know. Then I was in the farm, what is this place called? This, huh? Yeah. It's 2. And the wife. In the age of retirement. And they power a huge farm. No animals, but lots of vegetables coming out of that place. It's 3 people. And they said, we would like to have some more coming. Well, what can we do? There are plans how to create a village, but there's no people. But obviously somebody knows how to do things because the place was amazing. Shempas is a little bit like, it's half Italian already. It's close to Italian. We can feel it. I'm close to Italy now. Everywhere there is something going on. There is some congregation, there is some activity. So one should be grateful just for that. It's better as nothing. I know places where there is nothing. You travel 600 kilometers, there is nothing. Not one devotee. You have to come to Scandinavia for that. Great place. Sometimes they tell me in these programs that so many people came here, it's just 10 guests. I told them, come on, this is Janmashtami in Sweden. Festival. In Sweden, when program comes, there's 10 people coming.